Now we're getting ready to start the second half at Baldwin Wallace University, where it's the OAC quarterfinals between the number 1 seed in the tournament, Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, and the Otterbein Cardinals, the 8 seed overall this year on the ladies' side. I'm Brendan Gulick. Sounds like we're having some audio technical difficulties in the first half. Hopefully those are behind us at this point, and we appreciate the feedback we've gotten, hoping that things are moving smoother here on out. But it seems like the video stream has worked okay, so hopefully you were able to at least see that the game started rather in favor of Otterbein. The Cardinals dominated Baldwin Wallace in the first quarter, hitting 10 of 18 shots and 5 of 6 threes. They raced out to a 25-11 lead. But Baldwin Wallace came storming back in the second quarter. They hit 9 of 16 in the second quarter, and ended up shooting 43% overall in the first half. And even though Otterbein led by 14 points, 19-5 early on, the Jackets start the second half on defense here with a 2-point lead. We'll give you updates from around the other OAC tournament games as well. If you win, you play in the semis on Thursday. If you lose, Otterbein's season is definitely over. The Yellow Jackets are likely to still get an at-large bid, but they might sweat it out if they lose tonight. BW at 23-2 on the season. They are ranked in the top 10 in the country. As that 3-ball airmailed, first time back in the top 10 in about a decade. And the Yellow Jackets have played quite well against some of the other teams in the region, not just in conference play, after winning their 9th OAC regular season championship, looking for their 7th OAC tournament title. Hannah Fecht, BW's leading scorer, had a pretty good first half. A couple of good three-pointers for her. She finished the first half with 10. This is Casey Hughes, just below the free throw line, and Sydney Diedrich traveled with it. Haley Bauer leads all scorers with 11 for Otterbein, 9 for Angelia Jackson. They've combined for 20 of Otterbein's 33. The rest of the team has only hit 5 shots from the floor. 5 of 21, not so good. Of course, this Otterbein team started so well this season. Nice little shot put looking shot from Bryn Mangold, but it works out. Anyways, Otterbein got off to such a good start this season and looked like they could be one of the real top teams in the conference this year. Casey Hughes tries a 3, misfires. The team started the year with only a couple of losses on the 2019 side of the schedule, but 2 critical injuries to Delaney Cutteridge and Kathleen DiCarlo really unraveled their season in a tough way, and only won 3 games since the calendar flipped over. Kara Marshall banks one in. Otterbein 12-13. They went 7-11 in league play. They started the league 4-0. Look at Riley Schill. 2-on-2. Riley spinning, and she got fouled. So Schill goes to the stripe with the game tied at 37. Well, as is often the case, especially in the tournament, your team tends to go as your seniors do. As Peyton McCord comes back in, Haley Bauer returns. Riley Schill playing her 105th career game tonight. She's just shy of 12 points per game this year, 9 points per game throughout her career. But when you count on that every single day for 4 years, you've got a pretty steady special player. Hannah Fecht is playing her 110th game. Game 105 for Kara Marshall. Game 104 for Tiffany Bentler. And game 98 for Casey Hughes. Those 5 seniors have been pretty important players ever since they were freshmen, even when they didn't see a ton of minutes as freshmen. But fairly regular, no doubt. 2.5 minutes into the third quarter. Otterbein on the road trying to pull off an upset. That's last touch by the Jackets. Meanwhile, the Capital Marietta game tonight was offensively frustrating in the first quarter. Those 2 teams combined to go 1 for 23 in the first quarter of tonight's game. It's now 26-24 Capital as they are roughly a minute into the third quarter. but they've shot 32 free throws already. That is a foul-happy game. Marietta has finally hit 5 baskets. They're 5 of 22 shooting. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Meanwhile, the 2-7 game, John Carroll leading Wilmington only by 3. 46-43, middle of the third there. Jacket lead here is just 1. Casey Hughes down the left lane. Flung it up there, got her own miss, forced it back up, and it rolls home. Casey Hughes and the foul. What an effort by Casey. That is one impressive, resilient young woman. And if you haven't had a chance to read her story, I highly encourage it. There was a great feature article posted on bwyellowjackets.com, but there was also one written, I believe, down in the Dayton Daily News. Casey was unfortunately front and center in the awful, senseless shooting tragedy down in a bar district in Dayton over the summer called the Oregon District. Lots of restaurants and bars in a very, very heavily populated restaurant area in Dayton. And she was there when a young man senselessly opened fire, and Casey was awfully close by, and she has been pretty open now about her journey ever since then. And all the support she's received, it's taken her a little while to get back to a more normal place. But she's an impressive young lady. Gabby Garrett strokes a 3-ball. Casey will be first to tell you that her basketball family is among her most important. And they've been a huge reason why she's been able to get through far and away one of the most challenging things in her life. Yellow Jacket foul. And it's going to send Otterbein to the free throw line. 43-37. Yellow Jackets by 6. 6:01 left in the third. All right, let's reset the floor for you. Garrett, Schill, Edwards, Bentler, and Hensel out there for BW. Jackson, McCord, Bauer. Inbounds pass here goes to Mangold. She turns around and misfires. And Hoschauer are those remaining out on the floor for Otterbein. BW leads by 6. It's 19-5 Otterbein at the start of the game. Boy, things have turned around since then. Edwards picked it up off her knees, passed it away before traveling. And then a sloppy foul on Hensel in the backcourt. One thing Otterbein has not been able to do tonight is get out and run. They do not have any fast break points. So give BW some credit for that, because the Jackets have turned it over 9 times. And while it's turned into 12 Otterbein points, none of them have been uncontested flying up the floor. Long game, got to keep grinding. About 15 minutes or so left between the two quarters. And Otterbein gets 2 closer. That's 13 points now for Haley Bauer, who's having a nice night. Hensel sidesteps trouble, and she got fouled. So Megan Hensel with 2 free throws coming. Reminder, we've got a men's game coming up at the conclusion of this one. It'll be the 4-5 game on the men's side of the OAC tournament. Baldwin Wallace hosting the Heidelberg Student Princes this evening. Hensel puts the first one home. And considering the Jackets got off to an absolutely atrocious start offensively, they have really turned it around nicely. Good offensive rebound, and Edwards grabs 2 of her own. 8 for Lily Edwards now. Hoschauer in some trouble. Fading away, put it up. Schill finds Marshall. Kara, spot 3. Not quite. Jackson on the rebound. Of course, the Division III women's basketball selection show and tournament are coming up on Monday and next weekend. Tiffany Bettler deflected that 3-ball from Jackson. The winner of the OAC tournament gets an automatic berth into the D3 National Tournament. No matter what you did in the regular season, just if you win the tournament, you get the AQ. Jackets have enough of a resume, they think they're probably going dancing either way. Edwards in trouble, and she steps out of bounds. But she was fouled. Interesting. Peyton McCord fouls her. Third on Peyton. And Diana Knowles can only stand there with her arms folded across her chest, wishing things would be going a little differently here. Timeout on the floor. D3 National Tournament this year will conclude in Columbus. The Capital Crusaders will host the national championship this year down in Bexley. So it's officially the road to Columbus starting tonight. Jackets by 7, middle of the third. Coverage of tonight's Yellow Jacket game presented by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. By Papa John's Pizza in Berea, the official pizza provider of BW Athletics. Call them at 440-891-1900 or order online, papajohns.com. Big 3-ball by Megan Hensel. The Jacket lead stretches to 10. Can you believe it? BW was down 19-5 in the first quarter. But they have come roaring to life since then. Jackson chucks up a wild 3, considering she was 3 for 3 to start the game. Her last 2 threes haven't been particularly good. Ten-point game. Hensel finds Marshall cutting down the right side. Foul called on Bryn Mangold, although frankly I thought she got a lot of ball. Must have also got her on the hip. All right, and effect returns. Riley Schill has a seat. And Kara Marshall will shoot a couple foul shots. 10-point game. Kara Marshall steps to the free throw line, where Jackets have been a little below average tonight, frankly. They hit that one to go 8 of 12. Baldwin Wallace, the number 2 free throw shooting team in America. They average 78.4% this year, second only to Austin. That one's up and good too. There's 450 schools in D3 women's basketball. Jackets are number 2 from the free throw line. Tonight's been a little frustrating. Casey Hughes eventually called for the foul. She doesn't like the whistle. All right, her second, team third. Meanwhile, halftime down in Marietta. Capital, actually, you know what? That's not correct. It's late the third quarter. Marietta leads Capital 34-31. That's the game between the 4 and 5 seed. 2:50 left in our third quarter. Jackets lead by a dozen. They've outscored Otterbein 46-20 since they trailed 19-5. Hannah Fecht missed it. Here comes Bauer. Doesn't want to dribble with her left hand. Finds Jackson. John Carroll and Wilmington, the 2-7 game. Mount Union and Ohio Northern. Ohio Northern, the 3 seed, hosting the Purple Raiders. Jackets called for a foul. Mount Union leads Ohio Northern by 1, 9-8 early in the game. John Carroll and Wilmington are tied at 53 late in the third. Perhaps an upset watch over in University Heights. All right, time for Danielle Horsley to step to the free throw line. This Otterbein team just looks so much different without Delaney Cutteridge and Kathleen DiCarlo out on the floor. Cutteridge, the first 13 games of the year, averaged 11 points per game. She had more assists in the first 13 games of the year than anyone else on the team has the entire season. She's that good of a ball handler and passer. Otterbein quickly back up the floor, Zirkle for 2. And you've got Kathleen DiCarlo, who I thought was a pretty solid post player. Didn't score a lot, but averaged about 6 rebounds per game. And she shot it at a very good pace, 60%. Only had a chance to play in 9 games this year. And without those two, Otterbein's depth has really been frustrating this season. That's a mistake by Garrett. Oh my goodness gracious. Abby Scholes called for a double dribble. Wow. That will haunt her. Otterbein fans booing in frustration over the call, but obviously a pretty disappointing result there. Not an easy breakaway layup. Jackets lead it by 10. Diedrich with Bentler running to it. Tiffany back to Gabby, 8 to shoot. Garrett awkwardly goes from left to right hand and flings it up and in for 2. 55-43, Garrett with 7. The winner of this game will play either Marietta or Capital on Thursday. If the Jackets win, the game is here. If Otterbein wins, they are guaranteed to be on the road on Thursday. The winner of John Carroll Wilmington will play the winner of Ohio Northern and Mount Union. That could set up a tough game for the Blue Streaks if they get past tonight. John Carroll again leads by 5 in that game, but JCU lost twice to Ohio Northern in the regular season. It was basically the end of the regular season. That was kind of the reason that the Jackets won the regular season with a little bit of cushion. They won by 2 games. Even though JCU kept pace with BW most of the year. One more foul shot coming here. Hoshau. Missed them both. Hannah Fecht grabs the rebound. It's tipped out by Abby Scholes. Abby doesn't get enough love. She's a really good player. And I like, probably more than anything else, I just like her energy level. It doesn't seem to matter if her team is up or down. She's always right in the thick of things. She's got control of her game. Double-digit scorer per night. Good rebounder. Pretty good shooter. Kind of struggles from the free throw line, but real spark plug for the team, no doubt. And Fecht for 2. I want to talk about spark plugs. In so many ways, Hannah Fecht is the heartbeat of the Yellow Jackets. It's a foul on Otterbein. And with 34 seconds left in the third, all of a sudden, a game that was spiraling out of control early one direction is now reflected in its opposite form late. Jackets were down 14 with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Now they lead by 14, 30 seconds left in the third. Hughes holding. roughly 3.5-second difference between game and shot clock. 5 to shoot. Casey finds Edwards, and Lilly traveled with it before being able to pass away. There's 5.5 seconds left in the third quarter. Since Otterbein started the game, 10 of 18. They are 6 for their last 28. This one good if it goes, and it counts. Buzzer beater for Jenna Hoschauer out of Clayton Northmont High School down in Dayton. That helps Otterbein get back within a dozen. Cardinals with their season on the line, down by 12, 57-45 as we head to the fourth in the OAC quarterfinals. Ready to go for the start of the fourth quarter. The Yellow Jackets by a dozen in the final game of one of these two teams' OAC tournament lives. Who is going home after tonight? A foul sending Otterbein to the free throw line. The Cardinals didn't take a single foul shot early in the game, and in some part because they were connecting in a big way from deep. They hit 5 of their first 6 three-pointers. Then they hit their next 2, but missed 7 in a row since then. Lily Edwards checks out, so now it's Diedrich, Fecht, Marshall, Schill, and Hughes as Scholes misfires on the free throw. Jackson, McCord, Scholes, Hoschauer, and Bauer are out on the floor for the Otterbein Cardinals. Second one doesn't go. 57-46, 9 minutes and change left in the fourth quarter. Fecht falls over, gets it to Riley Schill before any whistles. Marshall's open. Oh, she's got good touch. Diana Knowles is wearing out the official Mallory Griffith. She really didn't like the lack of a call on Hannah Fecht not being called for a travel. It especially hurts because then it turned into 3 points. Now Gabby Garrett comes in for Casey Hughes. 60-46. Otterbein inbounds. Bauer's open. This is a little short and right. Hannah Fecht grabs another rebound, her third of the evening. Good pass to Gabby Garrett, leads her nicely. Garrett wide open. Jackson put a hand in her face, but it was pretty half-hearted. If you're going to try and defend the shot, you got to be a little tighter. Instead, Gabby Garrett goosenecks one and puts one home. 63-46 as the Jackets commit another foul. Of course, the basketball world was again locked yesterday on the memorial service for Kobe Bryant, and in particular on Oregon Duck superstar Sabrina Ionescu, as Garrett picks one up off the floor. In so many ways, Sabrina, the face of women's college basketball right now, and she became the first Division I player ever to accumulate 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 1,000 assists yesterday in Oregon's upset win at Stanford. Now, maybe upset's not quite the word. Oregon's really good, but winning on the road against a top 5 team is always tough. But a heck of a day. And some of the speeches, if you haven't seen them, they're available on YouTube. You can find them. Some of the speeches at the memorial service were pretty incredible. Jackets by 17. Kara Marshall makes it 19. Kara's having a terrific game. 14 points for her, leads all scorers. The pass to McCord deflects off of Hensel out of bounds. 65-46. Otterbein played BW twice in the regular season, losing here by 18 and losing at home on Saturday by 18. Peyton McCord scores it. Right now the Jacket lead is 17 with 8 minutes left in the game. Although it feels like a much different game than it was when the Yellow Jackets were in a huge hole early. Abby Zirkle way off on the 3, but a good weak side rebound. Gabby Garrett runs it down, but steps out of bounds. Bauer has 13, 5 of 7 from the floor, 3 threes. Angelia Jackson has 9 points. She's missed her last 3 shots after starting 3 of 3 from deep. Zirkle with 7, Scholes only 5 points on 2 of 9 shooting tonight. Jenna Hoschauer's had a poor evening as well, 1 of 8 from the floor, but she does have 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Give her credit for that. As a couple of the officials head to the scores table to check something out. Clock's at 7:44. Baldwin Wallace 65, Otterbein 48. Meanwhile, John Carroll leading Wilmington 66-59 with 6:40 left in their fourth quarter. If the Yellow Jackets hang on to win this game, they'll play either Capital or Marietta here on Thursday. Marietta leads the Crusaders 40-38, 7:40 left in the fourth quarter. And still early on, early second quarter, Mount Union 16, Ohio Northern 15. Whistle on the baseline. Kara Marshall, her first personal, team 4th. The good news for the Jackets is that it's not really all that tight at the moment, but 4 fouls in the first 2:20 of this quarter is a bit alarming. Angelia Jackson throws up a heat-seeking missile. And here comes BW. Hensel's open. And she stretches the lead to 20. Ring them up for Megan Hensel. Her second 3, the Jackets have now hit 9 of 16 from deep. After starting the game 0 for 4 from deep. Jackets commit another foul, but they have shot their way out of trouble. BW was 4 for 14 shooting in the first quarter. They are up to 53% in the game by connecting on 21 of their next 33. What a turnaround. Scholes puts it home. All right. Otterbein can't afford to leave any points on the floor right now. And Scholes hits them both. Marshall to the left-hand side. 17-1 in conference for BW. What an unbelievable season for the Yellow Jacket ladies. This team knows that if they stay healthy and if they play their best basketball every night, they've got a truly legitimate deep tournament run in them. Off the front of the rim, ricochets away. You know, in some regard, it's going to depend a little bit on seeding and who goes where. and who hosts. There are a couple of fantastic teams in the Great Lakes region. Yellow Jackets think they've got a good case if they win the OAC tournament, standing at 26-2 on Sunday. They think they've got a pretty good case to host the first weekend, but that is totally out of their control. And Effect puts it in. Lots to be determined between now and then, that's for sure. Can't take anybody for granted, got to go one at a time. Heck, you just saw Otterbein start tonight with a pretty big gut punch. Jacket fans are a little frustrated. It's a 20-point game. And Effect called for her second. Sherry Harrer, hands on her hips, shaking her head. She disagrees. Last time BW had a regular season this good, 07-08. The team finished the year 27-3. They went 16-2 in the regular season. They won the OAC regular season and tournament championship back in 2007-2008 before finally losing to Hope in the Sweet 16. And that's a program they just might see in this year's tournament. We'll have to see how it shakes out. Hope, one of the two undefeateds left in the country. 6 minutes left in the game. Riley Schill to Lily Edwards. Lily banged around, no shot. Foul on the floor. Only loss in the regular season in conference for BW was at John Carroll. BW with their overall best win streak in a couple years coming into tonight, 11 consecutive wins. Another Otterbein foul. It's on Hoschauer, her third. And a travel. Now looking back through some of the OAC records of teams that Coach Harrer has led, she matches her best conference record this year. She never had a team go 18-0 since the league went to the 18-game format. But 3 times in her 30 years, a team has gone 17-1 in OAC play. It was the 98-99 season, the 2000-2001 season, and most recently 05-06. But Coach has led a machine here in Berea ever since she took over. Jackson, long deuce, didn't go. Hensel tipped the rebound to herself. 606 wins, 223 losses. Hensel strokes another one. Points back at Riley Schill. Everybody's on the same page. And all of a sudden, it's getting a little uglier. 22-point lead with 4:48 to go. Otterbein has lacked quite a bit defensively as we get our first stoppage under 5, so our final media timeout. Cardinals scored 10 first quarter baskets. There's 4.5 minutes left in regulation, and they have 8 in the second, third, and fourth quarters combined. 22-point lead for BW. Coverage of tonight's game presented by the Oswald Company. They'll handle all of your insurance and risk management needs. by Crown Plaza in Middleburg Heights. If you're looking for a quality place to stay before or after any Yellow Jacket contest, choose the Crown Plaza. And by Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. Brendan Gulick with you, the OAC quarterfinals from Ersprung Gymnasium in Berea. The Yellow Jackets really came out flat tonight, but they have turned it around in a nice fashion. They trailed 19-5 at the start of the game, but now lead 73-51. And Otterbein's tough night continues, and frankly, their tough second half of the season is appearing like it's going to come to an end. Free throws split there for Hoschauer. And effect. Back to the left-hand side. Kara Marshall. You know, the thing about Delaney Cutteridge, she was a senior and played in 13 games. And effect for three, puts it in. So I'm not certain if Delaney Cutteridge has any eligibility left or not. I'm not sure what the cutoff is, but I think it's fewer than 13 games. I'm not sure if she has any ability to come back next year or not. I would imagine that she probably doesn't. So tough for her to not be a part of this season here toward the end. But hopefully when Kathleen DiCarlo is able to return, she's a Northeast Ohio young lady from the west side of Cleveland over at St. Joe's Academy. Hopefully she can get back and healthy to start next season and get Otterbein back to where they certainly belong as a program. Riley Schill, middle of the key, forced it up. Everything is going BW's way after the end of the first quarter. My goodness. Fourth foul on Hoschauer, and the lead is 26. BW was down 25-11 after one. They outscored Otterbein in the second quarter 24-8. In the third quarter, the Jackets outscored the Cardinals 22-12. And in the fourth quarter, going into this free throw, it's now 21-7 BW in the fourth quarter. I mean, this has been about as one-sided as you can think of. Megan Scheibelhut back on for the first time in quite a while. Scheibelhut started the game for BW. She's only played the first 2:10. Has not been out there. Scheibelhut, a good post player, but not necessarily the kind of young lady that's going to be on the floor frequently if you're playing a track meet. But she's gotten a lot of starts for BW this year. In fact, she's been the starting post player almost every night. Lily Edwards has been coming off the bench quite a bit. Another foul, 3:30 left in regulation. Gives us a chance to go back and check in on the other games. Looks like John Carroll will survive Wilmington tonight, 76-67 with 39 seconds left. It's not over, but pretty favorable for the Blue Streaks there. And too close to tell between Marietta and Capital. 1 point lead for the Pioneers. Just less than 3 minutes left in their contest. Scholes hits the second one. Mount Union and Ohio Northern almost at halftime. Polar Bears lead by 6. Appears the 1 and 2 seeds are going to win. We'll find out if 3 and 4 do their part too. Andrews stops in the key, finds Diedrich, who's wide open. She hits the three and the foul. Megan Hensel was out of her chair on the bench before Sydney even caught the ball. She was so confident Sid would hit the three ball. Then Diedrich buries it and got hacked. And this is kind of a microcosm of the avalanche that's hit Otterbein tonight. Diedrich misses the free throw, but it's 82-54. Zirkle too short. Diedrich the miss. 2:48 remaining. The Jackets are in firm control. Andrews with 10 to shoot. Bentler, 3 on the timer. Skips it across. Garrett, the horn sounds, and she misses everything. The Jackets killed a lot of time on that possession. Miranda Martindale, senior out of Centerburg, checking in for Otterbein. Martindale playing in her final career collegiate game. Haley Bauer, Delaney Cutteridge, Abby Scholes, and Miranda Martindale, the senior class for head coach Diana Knowles. Jackets, for the 3rd time this year, are putting Otterbein away. And for the 2nd time in 3 days. BW makes a change too. Emily Lyon coming on for Gabby Garrett with just 2:03 left. Reminder, the men's game will be coming up at roughly 8 o'clock. Starting time for that game might be delayed just a little bit based on the fact that both teams need to have ample time to warm up on this floor, although they have been warming up in the adjacent intramural gymnasium. So it's not like they've been sitting in the locker room, sitting and waiting around. They've at least had some time to get loose. But I imagine they'll have probably 30 minutes on the clock. Might be shortly after 8, but we'll certainly have you covered. In the meantime, the Yellow Jacket ladies look like they're on their way to a 12th consecutive victory. Nice bucket. Emily Lyon scores. 84-54. And on the other side, it was put up with some heat on it, but Hoschauer capitalizes. Coach Knowles calls timeout, and it becomes a media second stoppage on the first team called timeout in the 4th quarter. And so we'll have a quick break. 1:24 to go. Jackets 84, Cardinals 56. Yellow Jackets on their way to a victory tonight. Just 1:24 left, and it's 84-56. Baldwin Wallace empties the bench and brings a couple of other young ladies on. Shelby Heminger, freshman out of Tiffin, dribbling the ball here in the right corner. Reagan Schill, Riley's younger sister out of Elyria Catholic, is in the game. Mackenzie Hance has it. On the left-hand side, trying to get free. See if Kelsey George can spring away. Instead, Hance got fouled, no shot. And Mairead La Liberty out of Maine, also on the floor. Otterbein makes a change too. Alina Winston, freshman from Upper Sandusky, checks into the game for Abby Scholes. Abby gets a standing ovation from her folks and her family and friends and fans sitting behind their bench. I'm sure a tough moment for Scholes. Final time she comes out of a game. And here comes Katie Neff replacing Haley Bauer. Certainly not the way the Cardinals wanted things to finish up. Tough night. And all the best to Otterbein as they try to get healthy and get ready for next year. Coach Knowles is a terrific coach, well regarded around the league, and hopefully they'll have a little more fortune next season, that's for sure. 44 seconds left. And a foul. The foul is on Martindale. Well, it's now final over in University Heights. John Carroll beat Wilmington 79-67. So John Carroll will host either Ohio Northern or Mount Union, depending on the winner of that game, and it's currently at halftime. Ohio Northern leads 28-22. With a minute to go, Marietta leads Capital 50-46. BW has the winner of that game on Thursday night. 32 seconds remaining. What a comeback by the Jackets. Down 19-5, 7 minutes into the game. It was a terrible start. But BW has been outstanding, an unsatiable, unquenchable appetite ever since then. Scored 24 points in the second quarter, 22 in the third, and they've scored 30 points in the fourth quarter. BW's season high is 90. And while it certainly didn't look good with 5 points in the first 7 minutes, they've scored the fourth most points now in a game all year with this 87-point performance tonight. Free throw goes in for Winston. The Jackets can dribble it out if they'd like. And some of the folks here in Ersprung starting to applaud the effort. The Jackets are moving on. That was a stunning loss last year to Ohio Northern that knocked BW out of the tournament and made Selection Monday awfully nervous. But this Jackets team has been on quite a run here in 2020.